Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to be doing another update of Baltimore Thurgood International Airport. At the end of today's video I've decided I'm going to be doing something that I haven't really done in any of my airport updates before, and I'm just going to go over the history of Baltimore Thurgood International Airport because it's something I haven't really done and it's something that is pretty interesting. So I'm going to be going through this update like a regular update, going through all the aircraft, and then at the end I'm going to give a bit of a history lesson about this airport. So with that, there's not really a ton to say, so we're just going to start off here, just holding short of the runway. We have this Iceland Air Boeing 737 MAX 9. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Keflavik in Iceland. Following that, we have another 737 MAX 9. This one is a Copa MAX 9, and this one is going to be heading out to Panama City in Panama. Moving over to Delta now, here we have this Delta Airbus A320. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Detroit in Michigan today. We then have the mighty Delta Boeing 757-200. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Atlanta in Georgia. After that, we have this United Express Embraer E175. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Houston Intercontinental in Texas. This is the only United Express route that United operate. All of the other United flights out of Baltimore are United mainline. We then have this American Boeing 737-800. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Dallas-Fort Worth in Texas today. After that, we have this Alaska Boeing 737-900ER heading out to Alaska's only route from Baltimore, which is of course Seattle in Washington. Then moving on to Spirit, here we have this Spirit Airbus A320. This aircraft has arrived from New Orleans in Louisiana and is going to be heading out to Cancun in Mexico today. We then have this Spirit Airbus A320neo arrived in from Las Vegas, Nevada, and is going to be heading out to Orlando in Florida. And then last but not least here for Spirit, we have another Spirit Airbus A320neo. Of course, Spirit being the leading operator of the A320neo in North America. This aircraft has just arrived in from San Jose in California and is going to be heading out to Fort Lauderdale in Florida. Next over here at the cargo stand, we have a military visitor. Here we have the United States Air Force C-17. This aircraft is going to be making the very short hop over to Dover in Delaware. Next here at the international section, here we have the British Airways Boeing 787-8. This aircraft is going to be heading out to London Heathrow in the UK. Of course, this one is an all year round service. And then here we have the summer seasonal service on board the Condor Airbus A330-900. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Frankfurt in Germany. And then finally moving on to Southwest here, we have the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700 in the California 1 color scheme. This aircraft has arrived from Dallas Love Field in Texas and is going to be heading out to Raleigh in North Carolina. Next here we have the Southwest Airlines 737 MAX 8. This aircraft has arrived in from Phoenix, Arizona and is going to be heading out to Albuquerque in New Mexico. We then have the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-800 in the Tennessee 1 color scheme. This aircraft is going to be heading out to West Palm Beach in Florida after arriving in from Fort Lauderdale in Florida. We then have another Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8. This aircraft has arrived in from Tampa in Florida and is going to be heading out to Denver in Colorado. And last but not least for today's updates, we have this Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700. This aircraft has arrived in from Nashville in Tennessee and is going to be heading out to Austin in Texas. And so that does conclude the update portion of today's video, but now we're going to go over the history of Baltimore Thurgood International Airport, and it's quite an interesting history. So what you may or may not know is before we had any of the airports we have today in the DC area, DC had its first commercial airport, which was Washington Hoover Airport. This was only open briefly as a commercial airport from 1933 to 1941. It was closed in 1941 when Washington National Airport, now known as Washington Reagan National Airport, opened to be DC's primary airport. Despite Washington National being the new DC airport, it still wasn't a huge airport and only really operated domestic flights. Aircraft like the DC-8 and the Boeing 707 didn't really fly into Washington National Airport that much because they couldn't really fit that well. So in 1950, Friendship International Airport, which is of course now known as Baltimore Thurgood, opened and it was commissioned by Harry S. Truman. It cost $15 million to build, which today is equivalent to around $180 million, and as I said, it was opened in 1950 as the larger DC airport. In 1973, it was renamed the Baltimore-Washington Airport, and it primarily served airlines like Eastern, Capital, American, National, TWA, Delta, United, and Allegheny. While Dulles would of course become the primary international airport for the DC area, Baltimore still saw some pretty interesting international service even after Dulles opened from airlines like Aer Lingus, which would be really cool to see today. El Al flew into Baltimore, KLM, Air Greenland, and Mexicana. Of course, today none of those airlines serve into Baltimore. I would love to see some of them come back, like for example Aer Lingus. I could see them operating in the future perhaps on their A321 XLR. But in 2005, the airport was renamed again to Baltimore Thurgood International Airport, which of course is known today. The name Thurgood comes from Marshall Thurgood, who was the first African-American Associate of Justice in the Supreme Court, and he died in 1993. Internationally now, we get all year-round service from Air Canada Express, British Airways, Bermuda Air, Iceland Air, and Play, with summer seasonal service from Condor. Of course, domestically, Southwest operate the most amount of flights out of Baltimore. They have a huge hub from Baltimore operating, I believe it's 90% of the flights from Baltimore. Spirit also operates a pretty heavy presence here at Baltimore. But then of course, on top of Southwest and Spirit, we also get domestic service from Alaska, Allegiant, American, Avelo, Contour, Delta, Frontier, Sun Country, and United. And to give you a sense of scale for Baltimore, back in 2023, Baltimore served 26 million passengers that year. However, their peak year is 2018 with 27 million passengers passing through the airport in 2018. Overall, I think Baltimore is a pretty cool airport. Of course, it doesn't have huge international service like Dulles, but it has enough to make it a really, really interesting airport. And with that does conclude today's update of Baltimore Thurgood International Airport. I hope you've enjoyed, and with that, I will see you in the next one. Bye.